from. Tell your girl she can kick it if she wants some, but we got no time to waste.
Welcome to 4AZ. I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken. On this edition, we'll review episodes 13 and 14 of season 5 of Abbott Elementary. As always, we'll discuss the latest storylines, fan theories, and much more. Of course, I'm excited to welcome back Sarah Beth and Mike Steph. All right, you two, it has been a minute since I've seen you. We have not recorded in weeks. That's due to the Abbott
Over a month?
episode. That's due to the Abbott schedule release for these episodes, by the way. That is not
Mike's
on
feelings
us.
about it.
We've been very clear about this. But my point is, it feels good to be back. Episode 13 of Abbott Elementary season 5. Candygrams. Let's talk about it. So Gregory's rent is raised. So Janine suggests he move in with her. Now in this episode, Gregory is excited until he realizes several reminders of Tariq are still in her apartment. Big yikes. Gregory eventually admits this. With the two of them splitting rent, they are able to move together into the apartment above Janine's old one. You know, you both know this makes you very happy. Oshawn doesn't like Ava accepting Valentine's gifts from old and potential suitors, so she ends up giving them all to Mr. Johnson as a sign that she is in fact committed to one Oshawn. Finally, Melissa and Barbara anonymously sent a candygram on this episode, so a student in Melissa's class isn't left out, despite Jacob's warning to stay out of it. Of course, the student actually has a girlfriend from another school, and it becomes a whole thing. We'll start back in Marina, Arizona. Sarah Beth, what did you think of Candygrams? I know it dropped on February 4th. It's been a minute.
It was, but I actually didn't watch it till this weekend because I knew I'd have to rewatch it anyway.
Fresh on the brain.
I felt like this one was so good of like such good one-liners. Of like when Mr. Johnson's wearing the baby girl like Snuggie, and he's like, oh, so, and Oshawn goes, oh, he's baby girl now. Or at the end when Jacob ends up being right about the candygram thing, and he's like something about like this is what it feels like. I get why you guys like being right. Like this feels great. So one loved that. I thought it was really interesting seeing for the first time like Tariq actually get under Gregory's skin. Like usually like, he just like writes him off, but this time it was like, no, I don't want to live in like. And then also like really, I love Janine. And you know, again, short girl club for life. Like how much she didn't realize. Where he's like, do you know like she didn't realize like it was, I don't know why I'm pointing at my door jam, like you can see it. But like not realizing like he'd been marking his height or like she'd forgotten, and she's like, oh, because again, been there. Or like the GameCube being up on the top shelf because you know, we were gonna do ADHD medication a couple weeks ago, and it worked real well. And I deep cleaned my entire kitchen one day, and like I cleaned out like I've lived in my apartment for like 8 or 9 years. And I mean, I was pulling things down from like top shelves where I was like, I didn't know I had this. I took so many trips to Goodwill just for my kitchen of stuff I've just accumulated since moving in because I put it on the top shelf, and once it's out of sight, out of mind. And so like, once the cabinet door shut, I usually forget, but if it's up top, I can't see it unless like I'm up there. And so
it'll just be chilling there for years.
That like, I know that unless you are 4'11", when he was like, did you know the GameCube's up there? And she's like, no, she did not. Like, it doesn't matter if that's a cabinet she goes into every day. She did not. I just thought like it was a solid, like it just really reminded me of like season 1, season 2, like Abbott humor. Just the storylines were good, but like borderline ridiculous. Like the candygram thing, like sweet, but also like looking in, like that looks weird. Maybe stay out of it. Also like, and it just ending in the way it did, where like they were where the girlfriend's ready to fight. Like, I just thought it was just like a good episode.
Mm-hmm. And perfectly timed. The prelude for, for Valentine's Day, you know, knowing that Valentine's Day was coming up. And at school, I think we all remember, definitely when we were students, and now for those of us who have the privilege of working at a school, Valentine's Day is a seminal holiday at at a school. It's a big deal. Some students, particularly in high school, feel a way about it, but many love Valentine's Day, and they're like their adult counterparts. Sometimes you feel this pressure of, oh, I have to get my person something, or I have to shoot my shot. I can't tell you both how many teddy bears, how many oversized teddy bears I've seen since starting in this work. And then if you have maybe like a two boo situation, I had a young man earlier this semester share with the class openly that he's seeing multiple people. And it was during like a bell work, like a warm up. And he was like, yeah, this is what I do. I have two different partners. And we all look like, we love this guy, but did he just say that? And I don't know what his Valentine's Day was like, but I thought of him when Candygrams came up. It's real. It'd be like that. His name is not Lou, but somehow he's navigating this and also working on his Romeo and Juliet final project due this Friday. I don't know how he's doing all this, but apparently he's making time for a lot of people.
Good for him.
Valentine's for me is
always interesting because I think I've told you guys, I was a florist through high school and college. My mom was a florist, which is how like I got into it. And so I did like the sales aspect through high school, and then in college was like trained as a design. Like I was never officially a designer because then that meant they would have to pay me designer wages. So I was always sales, but so I have very conflicting feelings around Valentine's Day. I like it a lot more now that I've left the flower shop and I teach children, and I teach third grade, where it's not so much about like they get crushes and stuff, but it's usually nothing. It's usually just still like the old school, like everybody gets a Valentine and we do cute little activities. And so
very wholesome.
It is. It's very wholesome. And I like that I get that aspect of it after having worked in the flower shop for many years. And
I remember being a kid in elementary school, and my mom would get me these like Skittles, like a mini Skittle fun size pack, enough for the class Valentine's Day theme. And, you would give it out to everybody in the class. But that feeling, that rush of dopamine when you gave that fun size Skittle Valentine's theme to your actual crush. Come on, you two. That I haven't felt that euphoric. I don't know. That's like a top 5 euphoric moment in my life.
My class
Shout out to Lisa out there.
Yeah. Never had like candy or anything, but I can remember like going through them and like finding the one that where it's like, oh, my crush needs this one.
Yeah.
This like.
And when you ate the candy from your crush, it hit different. It was a little bit sweeter.
Yeah. I think that's where like you and I are not that far apart, but just enough. Like candy was not like a thing that came with our Valentines.
Wow.
I know.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
I know. It's a little sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just like going through and like over analyzing, like looking back and I'm like,
of course.
Like he really didn't think anything of it. Like
of course. They put 1 heart, not 2. What does that mean? Am I just a friend? Am I being friend zoned here? Is friend zoning even a thing, or is that just some construct that was made?
It's 6 of the same Valentines in the box, but mine is clearly special.
So Sarah Beth, clearly a fan of Candygrams. Mike Steph, how did this episode land with you?
Do y'all, maybe I'm showing my age once again. When y'all was in elementary school, did y'all ever play the game 7-Up?
Yes.
Has 7-Up?
Like with the...
Yes, absolutely.
My kids love Heads Up 7-Up.
Okay. Because I used to, like, anytime girl that I was crushing on in the class was one of the people, and I could feel them, which girl, touch my thumb, I would be like, I would look at them like, she picked me.
That's my baby.
Right?
What else you say? There goes my baby.
Yeah, that just took me way back. This episode, for various reasons, various ways, really, I want to say it had to be this episode, maybe not, or maybe it's the next one, but one of them actually got me a little emotional, right? So I could break it down. I don't have any notes. This is just off the top of my head because I watched it last night and I was like, you know what? I just want to be organic. So I'll go down the list. The Janine and Gregory situation. Yeah. If I was Gregory, he would get under my skin because the fact that even though he's joking, the fact that he said, well, you stayed in my own place. That means you owe me rent. Listen, I know Tyreek is a clown. I know he's a jokes and everything, But at that point in time, I'm sensitive to everything. I'm going to be staying in the house that this man has been. I know he had relations with my girlfriend because that was his girlfriend beforehand. Every place I look, especially with this dude, he's gonna make me know. All right, yeah, that kitchen. Yeah, we had some great times there. Yeah, just like he was saying with the GameCube and so forth. So that part I could definitely understand, and it was actually hard. It was actually touching that Janine didn't understand the importance of what Gregory was trying to do, because twofold, but more importantly, this, especially at the end, when they're talking about going to the apartment upstairs and it's actually $400, and Janine's like, $400? I'm not gonna be able to afford $400. I'm gonna have to get another job. And he's going down the list of things that they'll go 50-50 for, and the look of appreciation in her face and her eyes are like, wow, I actually have a boyfriend that's in it with me together. Like, I don't have to take care of him, or he's not just using me. Like, I mean, with her family also, because we know her family background or whatever. So that's the part that actually made me emotional. Like, wow, it was almost like an epiphany to like, $400 with us combined is nothing. Like, we can do this. It's funny how it got to this point, but I guess in typical Abbott lore, that them moving in together wouldn't be this big elaborate storyline. It would just be well, darn, they raised my rent. Well, why don't you stay with me? Oh, okay.
Like Mr. Johnson offered for Eddie to move in with him.
Yeah, it's like for it to just be just like that. It was
just amazing. Thrown in. It wasn't even the focus of the episode, really. Yes. To your point, Mike. It was Candygrams. It's Valentine's Day at elementary school, and oh, by the way, our favorite teacher couple has this seminal moment in their relationship. They checked that box finally.
Yeah, that's a big moment in the series. Not even the episode, not even the season, in the series. Like
in the show, yeah.
Yes, yeah. It's progressing to where you think, whenever the series finale is going to be, the show finale is going to be, if not, they're going to eventually get married. It has to end to that. But right now, the O'Shawn and the Ava situation, that actually brought a smile to my face when Ava literally stopped joking around and was like, you know what? I saw that was getting to you. I told them, listen, I appreciate it, but I got my man. I'm content. And she literally let him know that seriously, not in her old Ava way, but just like, listen, I see O'Shawn is feeling away. He's feeling, I might be making him feel might not even insecure, but I might be making him feel away. And I want to reassure him that you're who I want, you're who I need, and it's just me and you. And I really think that was a step in the maturation of Ava. Because O'Shawn, you can tell O'Shawn is not with the games. Like, listen, we together, we're gonna move this way. Fine. I know you have baggage, or I know you have a certain history when it comes to courting with men or what have you, but listen, I'm not with that. I'm not. I'll bend, but I'm not gonna break to your whim. Like, we're gonna everything's gonna be 50-50 once again. It seems like that was the theme of the episode when it came to relationships, 50-50. We're gonna meet each other in the middle. Now, for the Barbara and Melissa thing, on a different note, it was hilarious because they thought this little boy was a hopeless, with a clueless fool, was a nerd, didn't have no women, didn't have no girls, didn't have no rhythm, didn't have no game or nothing. And it reminded me when I was in high school, like my high school girlfriend did not go to my school. So everybody that had girlfriends going up and down, they thought I was just like, plus, they just thought I didn't have nobody, I wasn't dealing with nobody. Then one day, I think a couple of times when I think I was junior year or something, I came in, I had hickeys on my neck. And there was this one girl that was in my class, and she like looked and she was like, "Wow, really?" I was like, "Really? What?" She was like, "Darn, you look like your neck got attacked." And I was like, "Okay," but long story short, my girlfriend didn't go to that school, so I felt like the man when I went up to her school, because same thing, she's in her school. Guys are trying to probably hit on her or whatever, and she's like, "No, I got a boyfriend," but they're like, "Yeah, where's your boyfriend? My boyfriend don't go to the school." So when I would come up there, I felt like the man, like, yeah, I'm the dude that, so
That's my lady. Yeah.
I
get that for sure.
So for that to end off in that respect, and for the one liner as SB was talking about, when it's like, yeah, I'm gonna yeah, that's my girl, and I'm gonna stay having girls or something to that effect. I'm like, oh, I took your ish.
The confidence.
They got you pegged wrong.
The confidence of teenagers, or I guess preteens, maybe.
But no, it was a good episode. It did have that throwback feel of why I liked Abbott to begin with. Could I nitpick or talk about why the girl came up there talking reckless, like, yo, which one of your girls, who I'm gonna have to whip or whatever, and I'm like, whoa, she even backed Barbara and Melissa down, like, what y'all do giving my man something? That's weird. What's your name? I'm not telling you my name. But we got to realize, for better or worse, this is inner city Philly, so that's something that's not so foreign of something that like that happening, So no, it was a great episode. It was a great episode. I really did enjoy it.
Oh yeah, Sarah Beth, please.
That, like, you see the parallel between Janine and Gregory and Oshawn and Ava. Like, Oshawn is very direct with Ava, and some of that too, right, goes to like their own personalities, right? Like Ava needs someone who's direct, right? He comes in and is like, "Hey, I'm not okay with this, not because I'm jealous, but because it's not all right." But then you got Gregory, who doesn't want to move into Tariq's old house, which, I mean, I get it. I also just think Tariq is so stupid that that's where I'm like, how does he get under your skin? Because he's so stupid. I just can't, you just know. But, the way in which, instead of just coming to her and being like, hey, I'm just not super comfortable. I'd like to have a place that's, ours versus, me coming into your space. And so I just, I find it, just the parallels where, he's almost trying to, he is trying to trick Janine into, well, what about, this, place? I'm we really like it, right? I'm like, no, they don't. But just kind of the parallel within that episode of just how direct Oshawn is, and even finally Gregory was direct with Janine, but seeing the parallels and having more time with Oshawn, because I have been an Oshawn supporter since day one. Tyler,
you sure have. Not everybody on this podcast can say that.
To convince me.
Yeah. Absence does make the heart grow fonder. I'm glad he popped up. Sarah Beth, that's a great point by you. I think you two may recall, this was, I think this may have been last season, if I'm not mistaken, when we saw that moment of Oshawn and Gregory going to basketball. They were either going to basketball or leaving basketball. They were just hooping.
Wasn't it the strike episode? Because doesn't Janine drive by on the bus?
It may have been. Maybe this was season 4. Was it season 5?
Season 5. Season 5 was the strike. Because remember, they had the two big storylines.
Yeah.
I the episode with the bus where she drives by at the end, and he's like, "No."
Right. Yes. Right. Great call. Great memory. Well, the three of us have talked about this on the pod, how we've enjoyed the moments of these duos on Abbott, not necessarily just romantic duos, but just these duos, whether it's Barbara and Melissa, Barbara and Gregory. For me, that moment of Gregory and Oshawn, and they may actually have a lot more in common than we realized. I'm really intrigued to not only continue to see the parallels perhaps between these two couples, but also maybe, just maybe, if we can get the Gregory and Oshawn partnership, if you will, because we see Ava and Janine all the time. That has been a staple since season 1. We're still getting it Not mad at it whatsoever. You go Queens. I would just love to see some more O'Shawn and Gregory together. I'd be very intrigued by that. I hope we get more of it this season.
Yeah.
All right, episode 14, entitled Aide. This is a much shorter description. This dropped last week on March 4th. After more students are added to her class, we had been there. Janine convinces Ava to get her an aide. We love the kids, but when it gets over a certain number, when it gets over 32, what are we talking about? Only for it to be Ashley, with whom she butts heads. A miscommunication leads Jacob, to think Dominic is gay. We will talk about that. And finally, Jacob's brother. We got a lot of Jacob on this episode. I know you're too happy about that. Jacob's brother, Caleb. Well, he's back. He was hired to be the school's gym teacher. I think we'll start in Brooklyn this go round. Mike Steph, what did you think of Aide?
Aide was okay. I liked the fact of how they dealt with miscommunication, but more directly how talking about certain subjects, delicate subjects, needs to be broached in front of, you know what, matter of fact, the way that they went about broaching these subjects, the importance of knowing that your words can hurt, you know, all because everybody's not going to agree on the same thing, but even without you knowing it affects somebody personally, you should still speak in general terms or neutral terms, so to avoid hurting somebody else's feelings to a certain degree. Like most of the time, I don't subscribe to biting your tongue on a lot of things, but at the same time, I feel like you should be sensitive to certain subjects are sensitive. Like when it comes to death, like I'm very sensitive and I'm very delicate when I'm talking about somebody who passed away. If somebody passed away, I just feel like whether you like that person or not, there's a certain decorum that you should have. Not even so much for the person that's deceased, but for the remaining family. Even if the person was the scum of the earth, at the end of the day, that person's no longer here. If you didn't have anything to say with that vitriol to that person in front of you while they was here, then the tough Tony talk after the fact, I don't subscribe to. But when it came to the ADHD conversation, I do know of people who feel that way when it comes to medication for various reasons. Like, you know, like I think I've probably said this before, and I'm not ashamed. Like I take medication for my anxiety and depression, you know, and there's probably a lot of people that feel like, why are you taking medication? You know, well, or I go to therapy. Well, why you go to therapy? Go to church. You know, and I'm not dissuaded. I'm not saying that doesn't help, but there's some people that just have that mentality of all these alternative ways of dealing with certain things. They're just not receptive to it. You know, so the way that they brought it up, and especially being the fact that it was Barbara and her former student. Mm-hmm. So that added a level of delicacy of he doesn't know how to approach her. Not so much that she's a colleague, it's the fact of, listen, she's been my mentor. She's been somebody I looked up to all my life. Mm-hmm. So how do I let her know that not only did I find that disrespectful to me, but I actually deal with the ailment that you're being disrespectful to, you know. So the fact that it was those two characters in particular, I liked it. Also, Jacob, I really thought this was going to be a way for, matter of fact, I really thought this was going to be a way for Dominic to be able to ingratiate himself into the the inner circle, so to speak. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this was just one of those levels of, oh well, we're able to explore this situation inside of an educational build or educational faculty meeting or whatever. So we'll use these two characters. I don't know, but as for Jacob's situation, I'm happy that they're giving him more storyline. But if you think about it, yeah, storyline, but the storyline really it's still not revolving around him. It's him reacting to other people's situation. It's him reacting to his brother pretty much taking over his house because Melissa is giving him favors that he hasn't earned yet or he hasn't received yet. He's been there for a while. It's
her favorite son.
Yeah, it's him giving
whatever she says about him, he's like literally not.
And that's how the episode started, right? That was either the cold open or the very first scene.
The cold open is where he's sleeping on the couch.
Yes.
I think she calls him her son like at the school or something, and Jacob's like literally not.
Yeah, I said to myself, okay, Jacob is in for an interesting episode here. We're starting out hot.
So I'm like I said, I'm happy that they're giving him more. But I still want things, or hopefully before the end of the season, I want things centered around him. And last but not least, the Aide, which, what is her name again? Don't Ashley. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3-time Aide of the Year. See, because I binge watched a lot of seasons to catch up to everybody, my seasons are off. So I'm like, darn, I remember seeing her, but I don't remember. All right, this was a couple years ago, just last year, because everything is truncated for me. So the fact that it allowed Janine to take a step back and realize that even though it might be unorthodox in the way she's getting her results, that doesn't automatically need she asked for help. She received help. The person trying to help, maybe not in the most standard way, but you cannot brush them off, especially when you have no control over the people whatsoever.
What was the trick? Ashley held up a picture of Paul Walter Hauser, the actor, and the kids
and it just works.
Yeah, I know him from wrestling. He's wrestled a few matches for Ring of Honor, and
but it's from a movie he was in.
Is it really? I had so many questions.
I googled it like while I was watching it. It has to do with I can't think of the name of the movie. He plays a security guard at I think the '96 Atlanta Olympics. I guess it's like a true story. And like I guess there was like a bomb threat or something, and he's the one that like reports it, but then he ends up getting accused of it.
Wow.
And so the photos from that movie of him, and I think it's supposed to be one of those things where it's like this shouldn't work, but it does.
It's just random. Like, to Mike Steph's point, Ashley has her unorthodox ways, but listen, they were effective.
That we do, even if it's a bit that works.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and Mike, as you pointed out, she's 3-time Aide of the Year. She came in. Listen, I know what I'm doing. Is it different? Let me do my thing.
I liked at the end with the hot sauce where she's like, I don't know, but.
Do you remember when Mr. Johnson pulled up to her and said, "What are you doing?" As Janine is on her knees, putting the hot. She's like, I don't know.
Listen, too, we've also all been there as educators, where it's like, listen, it's stupid. I'm gonna try it though. I'm done.
And then Mr. Johnson checks us, and we get back to it.
Yeah, that's no. I'm finished. I'm definitely finished. Like, I'll save my thoughts for, but which episode I liked more, which is kind of apparent right now. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
It sure is. Sarah Beth, what'd you think of Aide?
I mean, I don't think there's really ever been an episode I don't love, but this one to me, like, I think I could relate to like every major storyline in some way, because I'm 99% sure Jacob is the oldest. I'm like, he has to be. You don't ever treat the
older than Caleb,
and like just that, like, Caleb is perfect and can do no wrong, and
right,
like
it's giving older brother for sure.
It is, and his older sister. I love you, Mom, but like it happens sometimes. She knows. My brother is very, and it's wild because we're only 18 months apart. But like, he's her favorite.
I was gonna say it's an if you know
Your
situation.
expectations are just very different. You're either the oldest or you're not, and you either relate or you don't. That's all there is to it.
Listen, shout out to the Katas.
Yeah, we love the Katas. They're great. And then with Janine A, I have been where I had 32 students. It's not for the week. Like I could feel myself like twitching because my class, like what her classroom was like with those 32 was what teaching my 32. Like sometimes I look back at like old photos from that year. Like there was one time I was looking for I was sending it to like a parent for like 8th grade graduate or something. But I was looking through it. I'm looking for a photo, and it's of like we're doing small group work, and so I have my small group, and like I never noticed this until, and then you just like zoom in and all the kids that aren't in group with me, and like not one of them is doing what they're supposed to be doing, like turned around, like just straight up like blatantly. This same year was the year I still to this day this was the year I co-taught with Miss Del Mastro. So she would come in and we were leading math small groups. And so she has a group, I have a group. My back is to her. And she's got like a group of 4 or 5. I've got my 32, plus I had 2 second graders that walked up to me for math. So I actually have 34 kids in my room, on top of my wonderful 6th grade student who spent a lot of time with me this year because we needed a little additional behavior support. So on top of an additional student in my room sitting at my desk doing his work while his brother is melting down because why does brother get to sit at your desk? Whole big thing. So it's already just like utter chaos. And then the Marana School Board president, Mr. Dan Post, who owns the pumpkin patch, and walks in. My favorite part is when he walks up to Miss Del Mastro to ask him like what we're up to. And she says, "Oh, you should ask the teacher." Points at me while the 6th grader's behind me, and he thinks the 6th grader is the teacher because he can't tell the difference between the two of us, which one's the adult in the room. And I'm like, awesome. Great start.
What it's on. Okay.
And Mr. Post, like he was not there to judge. He was there to genuinely like see what do we need. Like, so he's hanging out in the back, and again, Mr. Post is like at least mid-70s at this point, old school farming, like, he owns all the ranch, like he owned ranchland, just old school. He's just in the back, very quiet. And I've got my group. Miss Del Mastro gets up and leaves her group because she gets a call to go respond to a student who's in a meltdown in another class. Tells her group to keep working. She'll be back. Again, my back is to them, so I don't know if she's even left the room. So she tells them to keep working. They do not keep working. And so now one of them has taken her math notebook and torn it apart page by page. Oh, we're also under a table and turned the table into a floor. Again, this happens when my back is turned. And the board president, again, is still standing in my room. Page by page. And is making like snowballs, basically. And throwing them at anyone who gets near her table for it.
She, a young lady. Oh my gosh. This is problematic. I'm going to just assume this nefarious behavior. Oh,
like,
it's gonna be
again,
a boy.
I just
Who's a young lady?
where like the one girl with like the bow, right? And she's like, "Stop pointing at me." She's like, "Stop getting in the way of my arrow." Right? I turn around, and again, this is happening, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, and I look at him, and he walks out, and I'm like, that just might have been my job. I don't even know. And now I've also got my 6th grade friend at my desk who is very protective and comes up to me and he's like, "Who was that?" And so I tell him, and I go, "I don't think he thinks I did a good job." And he goes, "I'll go talk to him." And he's like ready to go confront him. I'm like, "Sit down." No. He's like, "I'll go let him know that if he doesn't think you're the best teacher ever, well, then he's like, And he's like trying to catch himself. I'm like, sit down. Like, no, you're not going to go confront the board president. Sit down. Like, a couple weeks
Chill.
later,
I appreciate the support, but chill.
I appreciate it, but also like we're just gonna pray right now. That's all we can
He
do.
was ready though. He said, "Listen,
He was ready.
You just give me the sign, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
take care of this."
and he would
I respect
have.
that.
I am so proud of him. He has grown up to be such. I'm very proud of him, but I needed him to sit down and not confront the board president. And a couple weeks later, I'm at a board meeting and I'm sitting with my principal, and Mr. Post comes up and, he's like, "Oh, who do you have with you?" And so she reintroduces, and he looks at me and he goes, because he genuinely didn't in the moment remember. He's like, did I visit your classroom last time? And I go, "Yep." Because I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm like, "Yep." And he like looks at me and I go, "It was a little chaotic." And he goes, "It was a little chaotic." And then just like walks away, and I'm like,
"Oh, I thought there was gonna be a but."
But we left it there.
It's your compliment. Okay,
and the thing I will say, he was always very understanding. Like,
that's cool.
They're like within that, and he knew, or his kids actually like had gone to our school, and so like he understood our demographic, and like I did the best I could with 35 children in my room, like, and no support because my support had been pulled. The following year, we got our behavior program, so that Ms. Stelmacher didn't get pulled out of reading. That might have been a factor.
Certainly. And to what you said, Sarah Beth, about Janine, I felt so proud of her for advocating and saying, "Hey, this is it." I remember during the episode when the boy does the backflip and then does it twice. He's trying to show his classmates how to do it. "Oh, it's easy. You just," I forget his quote, but you just sort of, look behind you and then just do it. And Janine, just shout out to her, shout out to self-advocacy. I was proud of her.
Brought up the bow and arrow. Like, where did that come from?
The bow and arrow. Yeah. Shooting Janine. I'm like, this is not acceptable.
There comes a point, like, when you have that many, and then also I have been very lucky. I've had some of the greatest paraprofessionals in my room. But like, and it's not the paraprofessional's fault, but like, they don't get a ton of training. They don't get a lot of, like, sometimes they are walking in and they are just doing their best because they don't know how to help. I really liked this episode for different reasons, but also because, again, I've literally been, I still am Jacob, and I've been Janine with 32 kids in my room and no idea what to do, and like navigating this whole like conversation wise of like, I respect you, but also, and what you said, you didn't mean it to be disrespectful, but it was still hurtful. And like the way in which like she immediately like took accountability and like those pieces. And I think the thing too, I think what was the most impactful was how he explained, like, I got diagnosed in middle school, but I didn't take meds because I didn't want to be labeled. And because of the stigma, I didn't take meds. And mine didn't really have to do with like the stigma. For me, it was more like the unknown of like, well, I've lived this way for 35 years. Like, this is what I know. This is comfortable. And knowing that when you start medications like that, like, it can be like a process to find the right fit. I got very lucky. Every time I have my appointments, I'm like, I almost don't want to jinx myself because everything I've tried like has worked out the gate, like to where I haven't had like negative side effects or anything, but I recognize that's pretty rare when you're looking at like chemical imbalance type of thing. That usually it's a figure, and we've had to fine tune it and stuff, but like really it was like we were able to start low and add slowly, which helped. But like going into it, it wasn't about like the stigma. It was just about the like, if this works, I'm probably taking this medication for the rest of my life. And that was a harder, not because I'm against it, but like, that's a commitment of like, but now, right, 7 months out on how one, it's improved my quality of life 100-fold. But then also like the more I learn about like the long-term effects of untreated ADHD and just like how many like negative like comorbidities and things that can come with it when you're not taking care of it. But again, because of the stigma around it, those things aren't talked about. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad they brought it up, and I think they handled it very well. And just like, how do you navigate those conversations? because like, and a lot of the stigma is being but like is coming back again, right? We have a current Department of Health that is attributing ADHD to Tylenol and red dye 40, and that like, right, like there is a current from our own administration like that it's a negative thing and that you shouldn't be taking these meds and you know, they need wellness farms and whatever. And so like I think the conversation was handled very well, and I think it's a very important conversation, not just like generationally, but like the things that again we're facing.
Yeah, it's certainly topical.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of what's topical on our podcast, Theory Corner, I want to present at least one theory to you both and then hear what theories you may have for this episode. So my Theory Corner, this is more of kind of like a theory / Hollywood corner. Since we last recorded, Abbott Elementary has been officially renewed for a 6th season. That's right. We will get more Abbott. This is excellent news. I looked this up according to Google, so my research was it was rather quick. Google gave me the answer I needed, and I trust that it's accurate.
But we didn't use ChatGPT. So
No. I am not a total heathen, but I just looked at what Google told me, and apparently the only other ABC shows, this is hard to believe, that are in season 6 or later at the moment actively are The Rookie and Only Murders in the Building. So my theory corner is that Abbott will continue, if not more so, be a face of programming for the network moving forward, particularly coming off of this weird episode release cycle. Granted, you informed Mike and I of this during our last recording, Sarah Beth. The Olympic schedule threw off a lot of the recent Abbott release dates, or not the past month at least, right? But historically, even when there wasn't the Olympics, Abbott has, like an actual school, taken these breaks and just it's been really disconnected in that regard. So the theory for me is moving forward now that they're re-upped for a 6th season, that hopefully we won't have as many of those gaps, because Quinta Brunson and company have proven to be able to develop a loyal fan base for this show. I don't know the merch numbers. I don't know how the pop figures are selling, but I have my Abbott Step sweatshirt. I'm doing my part. We're doing our part with this podcast. I hope moving forward, especially in season 6, ABC is really putting the proverbial rocket behind Abbott, and it will continue to be, if not more so than it already is, a staple of their programming, because you're in pretty rarefied air. You got The Rookie, you got Only Murders in the Building, 2 very different shows than a sitcom based around a public school in Philly, in inner city Philly, like Mike Steph mentioned. I'm so proud of the cast and crew in front of the camera, behind the scenes. Super proud of them. Congratulations to Quinta and the gang for being renewed for a 6th season. I hope it will only get bigger and better.
I wonder too if this year, I mean, some of it is right, like last year is when we started filming like the podcast together and stuff, but I wonder if this year the breaks seem more frequent because there hasn't been like an overarching storyline either. Like everything's so like in pockets that I feel like that makes these breaks seem even longer, because like it's not quite connected.
Right. Yeah, it's a phenomenal observation. I don't think we've talked about this on the pod, but it kind of reminds me of what Donald Glover's Atlanta series on FX did. I forget if it was maybe season 3 or season 4, but they had this one season that was super ambitious, and the episodes just did not connect to one another. So yeah, that's a great point, SB. I just saw that news of a 6th season. I thought, okay, we can't be the only 3 Abbott fans who feel a way about things being disjointed in these 2, 3, 4 week breaks. Heading into a 6th season, I would hope that some of that is a little more tightened up. You both got any theories?
Well, I have more of a question to your theory.
Yeah, Mike Steph, let's talk.
Do you believe that they're getting renewed for a 6th season, not only because of the fan base, but how do you think the fan base digests the season? Do you believe that it's more of a binge-worthy property, or do you believe people are actually waiting and watching it on linear TV?
Probably the former rather than the latter. I know it's hard because in terms of my viewing habits, this is one of my favorite shows on television, so I am locked in week to week. I have access to ABC Live, so I don't have to wait a day. That sounded like a flex. It wasn't intended to be. But I would get I would bet or I would guess that more people probably binge it than watch it week to
I
week.
wonder
At least people I know, but maybe
I
that's
wonder
a me
if
thing. I'm
you
locked in week to week. Sarah Beth.
I mean, it's the only show I think I watch week to week, but I also have like weird viewing habits, and the only reason I watch it week to week is because we film. Because prior I did not like, but I also have like weird where like if I know like it's last episode or two in a season, like I will wait till the new season premieres before I finish a season. And there's a lot of series that like I have 1 or 2 episodes left. Because I can't like I don't like to finish like again, the ADHD diagnosis came out of nowhere. That like typically like even for me to finish like a season or a series like in a consecutive time is typically because like I didn't realize I was on the last episode and I played it. Only Murders in the Building is I think the only other like series like I'm caught up on. But like I wonder like I feel like viewing habits have changed so much since like streaming has been released that I wonder how many people other than for things like reality TV, especially when it comes to like competition type reality TV, like how many shows people actually watch. Like the only thing I can remember like any of my friends talking about like recently was Love Island over the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's also because that show's insane and they release like 6 episodes a week. I did not. I got real into it. I actually have not finished, but I also know how it ends, so I didn't watch like the last like 6 episodes.
That's
because I knew how it ended. But
it's on my to-do list. I also wonder how much of the Abbott fan base works in education, how many are teachers, and just the viewing habits, the TV viewing habits of teachers. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that it's always the most consistent because you are involved on campus. Maybe you're coaching, maybe you're doing something after school that goes into the evening. Maybe you have kids of your own, and that's a life I know nothing about. And maybe that takes precedent over, watching Abbott every Wednesday at 8:00, like clockwork. So yeah, Mike, I would guess if anything, I'm sure maybe this data is available somewhere, somehow. Maybe Quinta will return our DMs and let us know, or the ABC crew will respond to us. But Mike, I would guess it's probably more on the binge side of things. I think watching weekly is more rare than ever. But that's what I try to do for this show. It's one of my faves. You both got any theories?
I don't have any theories.
Actually, no. I mean, like we just discussed, all these episodes have been self-contained, so it's not like an overall arch. Like, all right, this is where we think they're going. It's like, no, see, which go episode in. All right, next one, episode in. Okay.
I do think it'll be. It's not a theory, but interesting seeing now that they've hired Jacob's brother.
Yeah, Caleb is there.
But it's only like part-time. But correct. I think it'll be interesting. I'm wondering if maybe a theory. If him and Dom will become, because like they're both closer in age and like the new teachers, and like wonder if we'll start to see like them kind of pair up or seeing more of them.
I don't think he's going to be a regular occurring character. I think he's going to be in the building. I think he's going to be more on the outside looking in, like Dominic and the guidance counselor and the librarian and stuff like that. You're like, we know that he's there. You know that but I don't think he's going to be included into the group on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
For sure. And if we look, before we get to our exit ticket, our A+ picks, if we look at the episodes that are ahead, I'm excited that so many are going to be dropping in the coming weeks. This week, on March 11th, we have Safety Day. The following week, March 18th, is Campaign. Then there's No Homework the week after. And kicking off on April 1st, we have an episode entitled April Fools. So there's going to be a lot of action around Abbott. I know we will be locked in. Before we get out of here, time for the aforementioned exit ticket. Sarah Beth, we'll start with you. Who is earning your A+ for this 2-pack?
I'm going to give it to our rookies, and I'm giving it to both Dom and Ashley. for very, like, because I don't feel like I can give it to, like, I don't feel like I can recognize one without recognizing the other. And it's because of the, like, learning to advocate for themselves and learning to, like, speak up. Like, I'm, again, a big believer in advocating for yourself and for others. And so, like, it takes a lot of guts to go to a veteran teacher and, like, get them to trust you and to try something new in their classroom. And so, like, for Ashley, like, right, like, it was unorthodox and it worked. And she really, like, stuck by it. Like, she didn't get, like, shut down or, like, gave up. It was just like she recognized, well, I don't know that she really subconsciously recognized, right? Like, Janine needed the time to, like, accept it and try it. And then Dom, for one, going first to Jacob, just asking for help. Like, asking for help is, like, for me, I'm terrible at it. I would rather die than ask somebody for help. And there's many times I've been put in some dumb situations because I didn't want to ask for help. So one, going to Jacob, but then also when he recognized, like, that wasn't working, being able to go to Barbara and have that hard conversation of, like, hey, even though, like, your intent wasn't to be disrespectful, like, it was, and, like, let me tell you about, like, why and how that, like, impacted me, and, like, you know, like, I don't want another kid to, like, not want to seek help because of this stigma. And, like, because he was able to go to her, like, respectfully and, like, advocate for himself and give those examples. And, like, Barbara's very, you know, she never, like, shut him down. Like, it wasn't her lived experience. And so by him being able to share that with her, that gave her that perspective to, like, have that understanding. And so I have to give it to both of them because it's very, for advocating for themselves, because that's really hard, as you both know, that I've been through the last couple of weeks. So it is hard. And so, yeah.
That's a great selection. Mike Steph.
I'll say Jacob, strictly because he was the comedic conduit through both episodes. Like, he was the vessel in which they got the laughs out of. The first one with the, you know, the Valentine's Day theme or what have you, and the joy on his face of, like, listen, I kept on telling you. It reminded me of that Woody Woodpecker episode. If Woody would have listened, none of these things would have ever happened. That's exactly what it reminded me of. And then the second episode being the fact that he assumed the situation was one, and he actually made a assumption of himself, actually made that episode run. So I'll give it to Jacob.
Wow. I had to really consider all of our options for this. I thought about it some more, and I'm going with my boo. Much respect to Gregory Eddie, but I got to go Janine Teagues here.
I'm not going to lie, at this point, I thought your boo was going to be O'Shawn just because of the way you talked about him now.
Listen, maybe that's a season 6 transition, but for now, I'll planting my flag on Janine Teagues' Island. I mean, I guess it's been there for 4 seasons and it still lives. Yeah. Janine's,
you know, Quinta is single right now.
We have not talked about that on the pod. She certainly is single. I've heard this.
I thought she was with Gregory Eddie.
No, I'm talking about the actress.
The actress.
I know. I think they're dating in real life.
Well, she's going through a divorce.
Whoa.
She's going through a divorce. I think I don't think it's like official, but I think it's like it's pretty obvious.
That would need to be a whole podcast episode in and of itself if they're actually together.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay. Back to my I'm clearly shook. Wow. I need to process that.
Like, I don't think it's like official, but it's pretty obvious. Like,
okay, Miss TMZ tapped in. Mm-hmm. Let me finish my theory corner here, and then we'll get out of here.
It's not theory. We know. Janine,
oh no! See, I'm so shook. We're not even on theory.
He's so flustered. He's flustered. He's like, oh my god.
Also, I need to get
off
my chest. Did you? I don't know what she was at an awards show recently, like in the last week.
Okay.
I don't know what for. Did you see where she's in the dress with the stars?
No.
Okay. You need to go look. Well, so here's the thing is because I crochet and I just need it known. So she is in a crocheted dress and it's like stars all over. First of all, gorgeous. I don't know who did it, but I need you just to know the absolute like artistry that goes into that, because crochet is like one of the only fiber arts that a machine cannot recreate. So like we have machines that can do like knitting and stuff, but anything crochet has to be done by hand. And there's probably, I mean, there's hundreds, like that is hundreds of hours of like handcrafted work. It's a gorgeous dress. And I know she tagged the designer, but I just need you guys to know I've like thought obsessively about this dress and just knowing like the amount of hours that was put into it, because there is nothing that like a machine cannot recreate that. And so we also just love Quinta because, first of all, I know it was ethical. It's why like when you can buy like a crochet like top at like Target for $12, that really wasn't ethically made. But
Target is a guilty pleasure. I'm still working on it.
I know.
God is still working on me.
Listen, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism.
I'm going to keep it real with you both, Sarah Beth. I heard about 75% of what you said. I'm still processing your news about your rumor mill about Quinta Brunson and Tyler James Williams. I will tell you this. Janine Teagues,
okay.
the character Quinta
Brunson out there.
portrays on Abbott Elementary. I'll be quick. She is earning my A+. You two actually convinced me. When we started the recording, it was one of those recordings where I wasn't sure who exactly I was going to pick. I had a few options. But if we take a look at,
so I gave it to Janine.
No, listen. This is
yes,
true. Mike Steph is showing us on YouTube. Okay, that's the dress.
All those stars are hand crocheted.
Wow.
And like,
they look good.
They do. First of all,
hey, love. Salute to that. Janine Teagues gets my pick. The first episode, her man's moves in with her. She's splitting the rent now. Finally, yes, Queen. Mike Steph brought this up earlier. And then to your point, Sarah Beth, by that next episode, Aide, self-advocacy city. So many characters advocating for themselves. I love that Janine got the moment with her mans in Candygrams. And then that next episode, she is self-advocating. She is letting administration. She is letting Ava Coleman know, yo, I need some help. This is not realistic for one person. I love that for her. Janine Teagues, she has earned my A+ once again. I feel great about this episode. I hope you did as well. I hope our audience, most importantly, enjoyed the conversation. Let us know you're something new and or you're something good. You know we would love to hear your thoughts on this recent 2-pack, along with your theories, along with your A+ picks. You can let us know here on YouTube in the comment section, or follow us, hit us up on social. We will be sure to spotlight your perspective on the next podcast. Again, let us know here in the comments on YouTube. Hit us up on Instagram, on Facebook, or even LinkedIn. We fancy like that. You can find us at 4AZTeach. Mike Steph, Sarah Beth, thank you for being here with me. We thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next time.